Welcome to Restoria. I'm Edward, and this is your quiet place for gentle bedtime stories. Get comfortable, take a breath, and let the story ease you into sleep. The Nightingale. The lobby is warmer than you expected. Not the artificial warmth of a heated building, but something more like the warmth of a room that has held many people through many evenings and kept something of each of them. You step through the door and feel it settle around your shoulders immediately, the way a coat feels when it has had time to warm through. The cold of outside falls away in the first few steps. By the time you reach the reception desk, you have already forgotten what the evening air felt like. A single lamp burns on the desk. Amber, low, the shade slightly tilted so the light pools across the wooden surface and spills in a soft fan toward the floor. Behind the desk stands a woman of perhaps 60, silver-haired, unhurried. She smiles when she sees you, not the practiced smile of someone performing welcome, but the easy kind, the kind that costs nothing and means everything. She already has your key in her hand. You look around while she finds your booking in the register. The lobby is small but not cramped. A pair of low chairs by the window, upholstered in something the color of autumn leaves, slightly worn at the armrests in the way that things get worn when they are used and loved rather than preserved. A side table with a vase of dried flowers, white and papery, held together in a loose arrangement that somehow works. A grandfather clock against the far wall, its pendulum making a sound so soft and even that you only notice it because the lobby is otherwise quiet. Tick. Pause. Tick. There is a bookshelf beside the clock, low and wide, its shelves carrying an assortment of volumes that have clearly not been curated for appearances. Paperbacks with broken spines, a hardback with no dust jacket, its cloth cover worn pale at the corners. A slim volume tilted against its neighbors at an angle that no one has bothered to correct. These are books that have been left by people passing through and picked up by others and left again, migrating slowly through the rooms of the hotel over years, accumulating the fingerprints and folded pages of many different readers. You like them for exactly that reason. The woman sets your key on the desk and slides it toward you. She mentions that your room has a view of the garden, what there is of it at this time of year, mostly bare branches and the old stone wall. But the birds come in the morning to the feeder that someone hung there in the autumn. She says this not as a selling point, but as something she thought you might want to know. A small offering. The kind of detail that makes a place feel inhabited rather than managed. You ask her how long the hotel has been here. She considers this with the expression of someone for whom the answer is complicated, not because it is uncertain, but because it goes further back than a single number can convey. She says the building is old, very old, that it has been many things before it became what it is now, and that each thing it has been has left something in the walls and the floors, some quality of having been lived in, which is perhaps why people sleep well here. She says this last part simply as a statement of observed fact, and you believe her entirely. She mentions that the name, the Nightingale, is older than anyone currently living can account for. There was no particular story attached to it that she knew of, no nightingale in the garden, no famous guest who had brought a bird. Simply a name that had been on the building for as long as anyone could remember, painted above the door in the same lettering, repainted when needed, never changed. Names like that accumulate a kind of weight over time, she says. They stop being labels and start being something else. You agree, though you do not say so. You simply nod and take the key and feel the weight of it in your palm and think that yes, some names do that. She tells you the kitchen closed an hour ago, but there is something set aside for you if you are hungry. A small covered plate on the side table in the corridor outside your room. She tells you the bath runs warm immediately, no waiting. She tells you to sleep well, and she says it the way people say things they mean, simply, without ornament. Her voice is quiet, the way voices are in buildings that have learned to value quiet. You find yourself speaking quietly in return without thinking about it. You take the key. It is heavier than you expected, an old-fashioned key of real metal, substantial in the palm. There is something grounding about it, something that says, this is a real room in a real building, and tonight it is yours. You close your fingers around it and feel its weight and feel, without quite being able to say why, that everything is going to be fine. The staircase is wide and unhurried, the banister worn smooth by the same hands that have worn the floorboards. Your footsteps are quiet on the carpet runner, a deep green, slightly faded, thick enough that each step has a softness to it. The walls on either side hold framed pictures, landscapes mostly, hills and water, and open skies rendered in soft oils, the kind of paintings that do not ask to be looked at closely, but simply exist in a room and make it feel more settled. You pass them without stopping, but somewhere in your peripheral vision they register as peaceful, a procession of quiet scenes escorting you upward. One of the paintings catches your eye more than the others. A hillside in some season between summer and autumn, the trees on its slope not quite turned, still green but with an amber suggestion at the edges of things. A path winds up through the trees toward a pale sky, and the path is empty, and the emptiness of it is not lonely, but open, inviting, in the way that empty paths invite you to imagine walking them rather than actually walking them. You look at it for a moment from the stair. Then you move on. The landing at the top of the stairs is wider than the corridor that leads from it. A small open space with a low bench against the wall and a window above it, the one that looks out onto the street below. You could sit on the bench for a moment. You do not. The room is waiting. Halfway up the stairs there is a window, uncurtained, and through it you can see the street below. A fine rain has begun, barely visible in the amber of the street lamps, more a mist than a rain, the kind that you feel before you see. The cobblestones are beginning to darken with it. A bicycle leans against a wall across the street, unattended, patient. You watch it for a moment from the landing, this small, ordinary scene, and something in you settles with it. The street doing what streets do at this hour, getting on with the quiet business of night. At the top of the stairs, a corridor stretches ahead. Doors on either side, each with a small brass number. Your room is at the far end, and you walk toward it slowly, trailing your fingers lightly along the wall. The wallpaper beneath your fingertips is slightly textured, warm to the touch, the color of old cream. From behind one of the closed doors, very faintly, comes the sound of rain against a window, louder than the mist you saw below. It has grown while you climb the stairs. A soft and steady sound, neither heavy nor delicate, simply present. The corridor smells of something clean and faintly floral. Not a perfume exactly, but the residue of good housekeeping, fresh linen, and the slight sweetness of wood polish. The same smell you find in places that have been cared for over a long time by people who took the caring seriously. It is a smell that belongs to no particular decade. It simply belongs to here. You pass door number 4, door number 5, door number 6. Behind each one, a room like yours, probably. Someone else's shoes set by someone else's bed. Someone else's coat on someone else's hanger. All the small private arrangements of people making a temporary place their own for a night. Each room its own quiet world. The corridor running between them like a slow river between islands. A small table at the midpoint of the corridor holds a vase of the same dried white flowers as the one downstairs in the lobby. Smaller, a single stem bent slightly under the weight of its dried head, leaning toward the wall. Someone placed it there not as a grand gesture but as a small one. A detail that most people will pass without noticing, which is perhaps the point. The details that ask nothing of you, the ones that are simply there when you happen to look. At the end of the corridor, your door, number 9, the brass of it is warm under your hand as you raise the key. The covered plate is on the side table just outside your door, exactly as she said. You pick it up carefully, holding it level. Your key fits the lock without effort. The door opens inward onto the room, and the smell that meets you is the particular smell of a room that has been made ready with care. Clean linen, a faint trace of something botanical, lavender perhaps, or something close to it, and beneath that the warm, neutral smell of a room with good curtains drawn against the evening. You step inside and the door closes behind you with a sound like a quiet agreement. The room is not large, but it does not feel small. A bed against the far wall, a window to your left with the curtains half drawn, a chair by the window with a reading lamp already burning, warm and amber. A low table with a carafe of water and a glass. A wardrobe of dark wood with a mirror on its door that catches the lamp's glow and throws it softly across the ceiling. A small fireplace, its grate holding a few low coals that are not exactly burning but glowing, slow and orange, giving off a heat that you feel before you see its source. Everything in its place. Everything asking nothing of you except that you rest. You stand in the center of the room for a moment without moving. This is something you do not often do. Simply stand in a space and let it register. The room registers as follows: warm, quiet, complete. The proportions of it are right in a way that is difficult to articulate but easy to feel. The ceiling is high enough that the room breathes. The window is wide enough that the rain outside sounds present rather than distant. The bed is positioned so that the lamp's light falls at an angle that is easy on the eye. Someone thought about this room, not recently, but at some point in its long history, and the care of that thinking has persisted. You cross to the fireplace and crouch beside it for a moment, holding your hands toward the coals. The heat that comes from them is dry and even, the best kind of heat, the kind that warms rather than scorches. The coals are deep amber at their centers, fading through orange to a pale gray at their edges, where they have already given most of what they had to give. You watch them for a while, the small, slow movements of the light within them, the occasional tiny shift of one piece against another. There is something about coals at this stage of burning, past the drama of open flame, settled into something more like a long, patient exhale. You stay crouched beside them longer than you intended. When you stand, your legs are warm from the heat of the grate, and the warmth travels upward as you move, settling into the muscles of your back and your shoulders. You set your bag down by the wardrobe. The small sound it makes settling on the floor is the sound of arrival, of not needing to go anywhere else tonight. You open the wardrobe. Inside it smells of cedar, faint and dry, the smell of a wardrobe that has been closed and opened many times over many years. A row of wooden hangers, empty, waiting. A small shelf above them, a drawer below. On the shelf sits a folded extra blanket, wool, cream-colored, soft, when you touch it. You do not take it down. The room is warm enough, but you leave the wardrobe door slightly ajar so you can see it there. That folded warmth, available if needed. More than enough. That is what this room is. You open the small drawer beneath the hanging space. Inside it, a pen, a small notepad with the hotel name printed at the top in simple type, and nothing else. The pen is plain, black, the kind kept in desk drawers in case someone needs to write something down. You close the drawer without taking anything, but the notepad stays with you in your mind for a moment. The idea of it. All the things people have written on notepads in hotel rooms over the years, the to-do lists and the phone numbers and the sentences that seemed important enough to write down in the middle of the night. And now the drawer is empty of all of them and waiting for whatever you might add, which will be nothing tonight. Tonight the drawer can stay empty, and the pen can stay unused, and the notepad can keep its clean first page a little longer. There is nothing that needs writing down. The mirror on the wardrobe door shows you the room from a different angle. The bed reflected in it, the lamp, the rain on the window beyond. The room in the mirror looks very much like a painting, one of the quiet, kind interior scenes of rooms where nothing is happening and everything is right. You hang your coat on one of the wooden hangers, and the cedar smell rises briefly and then settles. You close the wardrobe most of the way. The low table by the chair holds the carafe of water and one glass, turned upside down on a small cloth, which is a particular detail, that turned down glass that says someone was here before you and thought about what you might want and arranged it carefully. You turn the glass right side up, pour it half full, set it down without drinking yet. It is enough just to have it there, cool and full, a small abundance. There is a book on the side table beside the lamp, left there at some point by someone, its spine turned outwards so you can see the title. A collection of something, essays perhaps, or stories, the title worn enough that you cannot quite read it in the lamp's low light. You pick it up and look at it without opening it. The cover is soft with handling, the corners rounded by time. This book has been held by many hands in this room, carried here from somewhere else and left for whoever came next. You set it back down without reading it. Tonight is not a reading night. Tonight is a different kind of night. The chair by the window pulls you first. It is upholstered in a fabric the color of a winter sky just before dark, a soft blue-gray, and when you sit in it, the cushion takes your weight in a way that feels considered. Not too soft, not too firm. The kind of chair that does not require you to adjust yourself once you have settled. You simply sit, and the chair holds you, and that is enough. Outside the window, the rain has thickened since you saw it from the landing. It falls steadily now against the glass, each drop catching the lamplight from inside and the streetlight from below, making brief, bright points before running down to join the others. The street is empty. A single lamp post throws a circle of warm light onto the wet cobblestones, the reflection shimmering slightly in the pooling water. The bicycle is still there across the way, the rain darkening its seat, a small patient shape in the lamplight. The garden is visible if you angle slightly toward the left side of the window. In the darkness, you can make out the shape of it rather than the detail. A low wall of old stone, a bare branched tree, a patch of grass that appears silver in the rain. The bird feeder she mentioned is there, hanging from a bracket fixed to the wall, swaying very slightly in whatever small wind moves through the garden at this hour. It is empty of birds now, but you find yourself thinking about the morning, about the birds that will come when the light changes, and the thought is a pleasant one without being an urgent one. Something to look forward to in a loose and undemanding way. The way you look forward to things when you are very tired and very comfortable. The room is warm, not the sharp warmth of a radiator on full, but the settled warmth of a room that has been comfortable for hours. It reaches the back of your neck, the insides of your wrists, the small of your back where the chair holds you. The coals in the fireplace shift once, very slightly, and the glow deepens for a moment before settling back. You feel the warmth of them across the few feet of floor between you and the grate, patient and unhurried, giving their heat slowly and without drama. You uncover the plate, bread and a small dish of soup, still warm, the steam rising in a thin, slow column in the still air of the room. The smell that comes from it is simple and good. The smell of something made in a kitchen that cooks for comfort rather than impression. A broth of some kind, pale gold, with something green floating in it. You eat slowly in the chair by the window, watching the rain, and when you finish, you feel the warmth of the food travel through you and add itself to the warmth of the room and the warmth of the coals, until warmth is simply the condition of everything. You pour a glass of water from the carafe. It is cool but not cold, the temperature of the room itself, and it tastes clean and faintly mineral. You drink half of it slowly, looking at the rain on the window, and when you set the glass down again, the sound of the rain seems closer, as though the quiet of drinking had made room for it. The rain on the window has its own rhythm now. Not a beat exactly, nothing that repeats in a way you could count, but a texture of sound that shifts slightly from moment to moment without ever losing its fundamental character. Heavy for a second, then lighter, then finding a kind of evenness again. It sounds like the rain is thinking, if rain could think. Working something out, very slowly, against the glass. You have always found the sound of rain on a window one of the most comfortable sounds there is, not because of what it means, but because of what it sounds like. A world that is wet and cold outside, and you are dry and warm inside, and the glass between the two conditions is very thin, but entirely sufficient. After a while, you move to the wardrobe and hang your coat. The creak of the door and the settling of the coat on the hanger are sounds of domesticity, of temporary belonging. This is your room now. For tonight, it belongs to you completely, and you belong to it in the way travelers belong to the places that hold them, gratefully and without complication. You open the wardrobe door a little further and look at yourself in the mirror on its face. The reflection shows someone at the end of a long day in a warm room, which is a good thing to see. The lamp behind you throws your shadow forward, and the coals to your left add a warmth to the color of everything, and you look in the mirror like someone who is about to be fine. You close the wardrobe. The bathroom is small and tiled in white, a little worn at the edges but scrupulously clean. A folded towel on the rail, thick and slightly rough in the way that good towels are, the kind that dry you properly. She was right about the bath. The water runs warm immediately, no hesitation, and you stand for a moment with your hand beneath the tap and let it run over your wrist. Warm as a hand, warmer. The room fills slowly with steam, and the steam has a smell, mineral and clean, and the mirror above the sink begins to fog at its edges, retreating inward. There is a small window above the bath, frosted glass, and through it you can see the vague glow of the street lamp outside, softened by the glass and the steam into something barely there, a warmth of light rather than light itself. The sound of the rain comes through clearly even with the window closed, close and constant. You stand beside the filling bath and let the steam settle around your shoulders and listen to the rain and feel the warmth rising from the water and think, in the loose and wordless way you think when you are very tired and very comfortable, that this is enough. This is exactly enough. You fill the bath, not very deep, just enough. The sound of the water running and the sound of the rain on the small frosted window above the tub make a kind of layered music, one close and full, one distant and steady, both moving toward the same wordless end. When you lower yourself in, the water takes your weight the way good water does, completely and without resistance. The heat of it reaches your shoulders, your neck, all the places where the day has left its residue, the tightness and the held posture and the small accumulated tensions begin to release. Not all at once, slowly, in the way that warmth always works, patiently and from the outside in. You lie still in the water and listen to the rain on the window. The sound is muffled by the glass and by the steam, softened to something barely there. A suggestion of rain, a memory of it. Your hands float slightly at your sides, weightless in a way that your hands never are outside of water, and you look at the fogged ceiling above you and feel, as simply and completely as you have felt anything in a long time, that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. The steam thickens slowly. The mirror is entirely fogged now. The window above you a blurred rectangle of soft gray. The sounds of the world outside the bathroom are very distant. The clock in the lobby, the rain on the street, all of it reduced to a general quietness that has no particular source and no particular direction. You breathe slowly in the warm water. The breath in, warm and humid. The breath out, slower. There is a small soap dish on the edge of the tub, white porcelain, holding a bar of soap that smells of something simple and clean. Not perfumed, not complex, simply the smell of clean. You have not done anything with it yet, simply noticed it there. Its clean smell mixing with the steam and the mineral smell of the hot water and the faint trace of whatever was used to clean the bath, all of it combining into something that is the specific smell of this bathroom in this building, unrepeatable anywhere else. The kind of smell you will not consciously remember, but which will, in some future moment in some other place, return to you briefly and remind you of this evening without your knowing why. You lie in the water until it begins to cool slightly at the edges, the temperature at the surface dropping first while the deeper warmth remains. This is the natural end of a bath, you have always felt. Not when you decide to leave, but when the water itself begins to release you. You sit up slowly, and the cooler air of the bathroom touches your shoulders, and you reach for the towel. When you return to the bedroom, the coals have settled lower, the glow a deeper and quieter orange now. The lamp is still on, still amber, still low. The rain is still on the window. The room is exactly as you left it, which is the right and only thing for a room to be. You dry slowly with the towel and feel the rough warmth of it against your skin, and then the warmer warmth of the room itself when the towel comes away. You stand for a moment by the window before moving to the bed. The rain on the glass is still there, running its small rivers down the pane, and the street below is still empty and wet and amber lit. The bicycle is still there, across the way. It has been there all evening, and it will be there in the morning when the light comes back, patient and unhurried, waiting for whoever left it. There is something in the steadiness of it that you find unexpectedly comforting. The world outside continuing its quiet life, while the room behind you holds its warmth and its stillness and waits for you to come to bed. The bed. The sheets are white, pressed, turned down at one corner with a precision that suggests genuine care. Not the mechanical precision of a machine, but the precision of a person who has made beds for a long time and finds satisfaction in doing it well. You sit on the edge first, and the mattress takes your weight without complaint. Firm enough to support, soft enough to receive. You press your palm flat against the sheet and feel the cool smoothness of the cotton, which will warm to you soon enough. You set your shoes side by side at the foot of the bed. The small orderliness of this pleases you more than it should. 2 shoes placed neatly in a room that is yours for the night. A tiny arrangement of things. Enough. You reach across to turn off the reading lamp on the table by the chair and pause for a moment before doing so. The lamp has been on since you arrived, quietly doing its work, and the room has organized itself around its light. The shadows behind the wardrobe, the amber catch in the mirror, the warm patch on the ceiling above. You have come to feel the lamp as a presence, a companion of sorts. The way a good light in a room is always a kind of company. You turn it off. The room shifts. Not into darkness, because the coals still give their glow, and the street lamp outside still sends its amber through the gap in the curtains, but into a different kind of light. Softer, lower, more the light of night than of evening. The room looks different from the bed than it did from the chair. Larger somehow, the shadows doing something to the proportions. The ceiling retreats a little. The corners soften. The wardrobe with its mirror holds the last of the coal's glow and gives it back to the room in a warm and shifting reflection. The pillow, when you lie back, is exactly right. Not the flat submission of an old pillow, not the overstuffed resistance of a new one. It supports your head at the particular angle that releases the muscles of your neck, and within a few seconds, you feel that release travel down into your shoulders, and from your shoulders into the plane of your back against the mattress. The sensation is like a slow exhale that originates not in the lungs but somewhere deeper. The ceiling above you in this light is a soft darkness rather than a hard one. The cream of it barely visible. The shadows gentle rather than absolute. The light from the street outside moves through the gap in the curtains in a thin amber line across the far wall, not reaching the ceiling, not reaching you, simply existing there at the edge of the room as a reminder that the world outside continues. Rain moves through that line of light, and you can see its motion briefly, the individual drops crossing the amber strip and disappearing, each one there and gone so quickly that you can barely track a single one before another takes its place. You watch this for a while. The small, anonymous rain. The extra blanket folded at the foot of the bed has a particular weight to it. You did not unfold it, did not need to. The sheets and the room's warmth were enough, but you can feel its presence at the foot of the bed, its solidity, its weighting. The knowledge that it is there if you want it, that you are more than provided for, that this room has anticipated your needs and exceeded them, is itself a kind of comfort, more than you need, which is exactly the right amount. The rain continues, steady and even against the glass, and against the roof above you, and against whatever ledge or stone surface catches it outside. Each of these surfaces makes the rain into a slightly different sound, and lying here you can distinguish between them without trying. The window close and clear, the roof softer and further, something leafy beyond the glass, a sound like someone turning pages very slowly in another room. Together they make a thing that is more than rain, a kind of presence, a company of sound that asks nothing and fills everything. The coals in the fireplace have settled to their lowest now. They glow without flickering, a steady ember light, deep red at the center, fading to orange at the edges. They will be cool by morning, and the room will be warm without them by then. But for now they give their last slow heat to the air, and the air holds it, and the room holds you. Layer upon layer of warmth, each one settling over the last. Your hands are resting on the sheet beside you. You become aware of how heavy they feel, not painfully so, simply heavy in the way that rested hands feel heavy, all the small tensions released, the grip and the carry and the reaching, all set down for the night. Your fingers are slightly curved, relaxed into their natural shape, and the cotton beneath your palms has warmed completely now. You think, briefly, of the journey that brought you here, the distances covered, the weather, the small inconveniences of being in motion. All of it is behind you now, receding the way distances recede when you stop moving, becoming quickly abstract, already harder to recall in detail than the specific warmth of this specific pillow under your specific head. The journey is done. This is where it brought you. Tomorrow there will be the morning. The birds at the feeder in the garden below, breakfast somewhere, the smell of something warm and good, the day resuming its ordinary motion. But tomorrow is very far away right now, separated from this moment by the full depth of a night's sleep, which is a great distance when you are lying in a warm bed in a quiet room listening to rain. You do not reach toward it. It will come on its own. Everything comes on its own when you stop reaching. The rain on the window, the coals in the grate, the clock somewhere below, patient and quiet and keeping count. These are the things that are here. These are the things that matter at this hour. The small and steady world of the room. Somewhere below, in the building, a door closes softly. Footsteps, very faint, on the corridor carpet. Then nothing. The hotel has settled into its sleeping hours. You can feel it, the way you feel a large thing in the dark, not by seeing it but by the weight of it. All the other rooms, all the other travelers, all of them finding their own versions of this same horizontal stillness. The building holding all of them, you among them. The clock in the lobby below, very faint, marks the hour. A soft sound, barely there. It will go on through the night, marking the hours you will not hear because you will be sleeping through them. This is a good thought. That time will pass quietly while you rest, that the clock will keep count so that you do not have to. The sheet has warmed completely now wherever you lie. There is no longer any boundary between the warmth of you and the warmth of the bed. You are simply warm, entirely and evenly warm. Your breathing has slowed without you asking it to. You notice this the way you notice something that has already happened. The breath coming in, long and easy. The breath going out, longer still. In between, a pause that is not uncomfortable but simply unhurried. The body finding its own pace now that you have given it permission to do so. Now that there is nothing left to do tonight except this. The rain, steady, even, running down the glass outside in small rivers you cannot see from here but know are there. The sound of them is enough, more than enough. The amber lamp, the ember glow from the grate. The weight of your hands on the warming sheet. The pillow holding your head at exactly the right angle. Your eyes are heavy now, in a way that is not a struggle but a kind of arrival. The heaviness of something that has been patient all day and has now been given its proper moment. You do not fight it. There is nothing to fight and nothing that needs doing. There is only the room, and the rain, and the warmth, and the dark, which is not empty but full. Full of quiet, full of rest. The lamp burns on across the room. The coals breathe their last slow warmth into the air. The rain continues its soft and even work against the glass. The building holds you. The night holds the building. The clock below marks the hour and goes on. And you are already, almost, there. The rain, the warmth, the dark, still